Kentucky is a southeastern state bounded by the Ohio River in the north and the Appalachian Mountains in the east, with Frankfort the state capital. The state's largest city, Louisville, is home to the Kentucky Derby, the renowned horse race held at Churchill Downs on the first Sunday in May. The race is preceded by a 2-week festival and celebrated in the Kentucky Derby Museum year-round. Number 3. Waverly Hills Sanitarium, from Jerry P. I guess you could say I grew up in a haunted house. This is from the time I was 13 to 18. There was a lot of paranormal activity in the house that we lived in that piqued my interest in the paranormal. Waverly is closed down. It used to function as a tuberculosis hospital. It was opened as a nursing home for a while before it was shut down for cruel practices. Anyhow, I was exploring this place in the dead of night all by myself when out of nowhere I got the strong urge to do self-harm. I've never had suicidal thoughts or tendencies, so this was a rather peculiar feeling to say the least. Whether it be the lost souls which no doubt roam the empty halls of that condemned and broken building playing tricks with my emotions, or if it was just a sign for me to get out of Dodge, I don't know. I will never go back there. Number 2. Cave Hill Cemetery. Cave Hill Cemetery is the resting place of many famed Kentuckians, including the Frito-Lay magician Colonel Harlan Sanders and most recently Muhammad Ali. It is located at 701 Baxter Avenue in Louisville and was built back in the 1800s. The grounds were designed in the peak of the Victorian era to be a garden-style resting place for the deceased upper class and soldiers. It is not uncommon in modern times to hear unexplained sounds and footsteps in the cemetery. There are also a variety of orbs and unexplained lights that appear at night and on film. Ornate tombstones and statues stand guard over the bones, but the spirits are still said to wander. Those who have entered the cemetery at night deem it a hub of paranormal activity. Number 1. Hillbilly Horror. On the night of August 21st, 1955, a large extended farm family called the Suttons arrived breathlessly at the Hopkinsville police station in southwestern Kentucky. Their story of a terrifying siege by otherworldly beings would become one of the most detailed and baffling accounts of an alien close encounter on record, notable for the large number of witnesses, nearly a dozen, the duration of the encounter, and the close proximity between the witnesses and creatures. The incident quickly became regional and even national news. The alleged encounter occurred on the Suttons farm in the tiny rural hamlet of Kelly, Kentucky, where the family lived in an unpainted 3-room house without running water, telephone, radio, TV, or books. Of all the details of their story, the UFO landing and the appearance of small alien creatures, one fact is indisputable. When the 8 adults and 3 children arrived at the nearby Hopkinsville police station at about 11 p.m., they were genuinely terror-struck. These aren't the kind of people who normally run to the police for help, Police Chief Russell Greenwell later told investigators. What they do is reach for their guns. Yet here they were, women and children hysterical, and one man with a pulse of 140 beats per minute measured by an investigator. According to accounts given to the police at about 7 p.m., on the hot Sunday evening, Sutton family friend Billy Ray Taylor was fetching water from the backyard well when he saw a silvery object, real bright, with all the colors of the rainbow. As he later recounted, it came silently toward the house, passed over it, stopped in the air, and then dropped straight to the ground. Taylor, 21, and his 18-year-old wife had come from Pennsylvania to visit Lucky Sutton, with whom he had worked on a traveling carnival. The Suttons' 50-year-old widow and matriarch Glennie Langford, her 2 older sons and their wives, a brother-in-law, and the widow's 3 younger children, 12, 10, and 7, didn't take Billy Ray seriously, laughing off his UFO account. An hour later, alerted by the dog's incessant barking, Lucky and Billy Ray went to the back door and made out a strange glow in the midst of which they spied a small humanoid creature. The creature was about 3.5 feet tall. It had an oversized head, almost perfectly round. Its arms extended almost to the ground, its hands had talons, and its oversized eyes glowed with a yellowish light. Terrified, the 2 men grabbed a 20-gauge shotgun and a .22 rifle and fired at the little man, its hands now raised as if held up at gunpoint as it came toward the back door. They reported that it then did a flip, scrambled upright, and fled into the darkness. After a standoff with several more of these green men for several more hours, the family escaped to the police station.